All right, so for part number three, or problem number three, we're gonna learn that you can make multiple extrusions or you can have multiple features for the same sketch. So for this one, that's gonna be useful because you can see a lot of these can be generated from the same sketch, just at different heights. So what we will do is we'll make a sketch on our top plane, and we're gonna be sketching from this view here. Let's make sure our units are in millimeters and go back into our sketch for our top plane. I will treat this intersection as my origin. It's going to be useful to us later. So let's just start by making this general sketch. So we have a circle. Let's see, this inner circle is a diameter of 48. So 48 over 2 for our radius. Okay, and then the one outside of that is a diameter of 65. So 65 over 2. There's that one. We have a third. Um, let's see, what's this one here? 65, 48 gives us this dimension twice for some reason. See, we can make this line here. So that line from the origin, let's make a midpoint line in the x-axis that is vertical. Let me change this to 90 degrees. Oh, it's already at 90 degrees. Good. And then let me lock this center before I change the dimension. So this line is a total of 15 units. And it needs to be dimensioned. So let me unfix the center point so I can dimension from the origin. Let me lock these. So this should fix them. Can I not fix this? So just fix that guy, that one. So they're locked in size. I'm not sure if oh, there we go, midpoint. Let's lock that center point as well. This line is 38 and a half units from the center. So let's see, hopefully it doesn't change any of our dimensions, which it looks like it will. So let's go ahead and fix that before we move on. So this line is where we want it to be, but it also changed our dimensions for our circles while it did that. So like I said, let's go back and fix that. The inner one, 48 over 2. And the other circle is 65 over 2. Okay, those are centered about the origin. So now we have this line here. All right, so I will make a line from this bottom quadrant here. Make sure it's horizontal, and this line, the distance from here to here is going to be given by 38 and a half minus 14 and a half. So let's do 38.5 minus 14.5 gives us that distance. And now we can make this arc that we have. So we know it is tangent at this point, or this one as well. And then the final value is going to be the radius. Before I change that, let me fix these lines so they don't move anywhere. Okay, it doesn't want me to fix this. Okay, but I can. So this has a radius of 77 based on this dimension here. Whoa, did not like that. Um, let's see, I want to lock in this point as well. Let me lock in these endpoints. Let's hope it doesn't move. There it is. Radius of 77. So I could do the same up here, or I could just mirror. Let me move this dimension down a little bit. We could mirror this to the other side. Let me make a line down the middle that I can use to mirror. So let's mirror this arc and this line, copy about this center. Okay, now let's delete this reference line. All right, that looks to be good there. Now we should draw out the rest of this shape. So let's start at the other end. This circle is from the origin 145. So let's just make a circle anywhere. Let's dimension the circle. So it's 9, it's 18 diameter. That means it's 9 radius. If it's in the x-axis, on the x-axis, that means the y has to be 0. And then if we're 145 from the origin, that means this value should be a negative 145. Okay, now let me make that second circle that shares the same center point. This one has a radius of 16.5. And I could also make this shape, this slot shape, with the same kind of method. So just make a circle, let's say for this first one. These are radius 10. Let me change this to a radius of 10. Again, if it's in the x-axis, then its y coordinate should be 0. And if this one is, let's say, 145 minus 35 minus 53 would give me this distance here. So we'll do the overall of, I'll do this on my calculator because my number is going to be negative. So let's do 145. Actually, I may be able to do it here. I'll just use parentheses. So the final number will be negative, but just the math alone will be 145 minus 53 minus 35. Making sure I'm using parentheses here. Negative 57 is this first one. The second one has the same same radius of 10, and the math for this would be the 57 that we found here. Remember that. So again, we'll do our overall distance of 145 minus the 57 that we got from here minus the 53 that's given here. Let's see, 53. And that puts us at 35. 145 minus 57 minus 53. Let me double check my math. Obviously, I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't type in 145? Maybe I just typed in 45. Not too sure. Let's see. Let's try that one more time. 145. Let me get rid of these zeros. Minus the 57. Minus. Oh, I'm doing it backwards. So it should just be 145 minus this 35 would give me this distance. So 145 minus 35. These negatives were throwing me off a little bit. So this center point should be negative 110. Apologize for that little pause there. I had to stand up to adjust the shades that were causing a glare on my screen. But now I can connect these two quadrants to make my slot shape. Let me connect these here. I could trim the inner regions of this. Don't need those anymore. Let me see if it gives us a distance for the width of this part of the rod. Let's see, it would be the diameter of this outer circle, which, so it's 16 and a half. See, what I could do is I could make a line from this quadrant over all the way to intersect this circle. Do the same at the bottom, making sure this line is horizontal. And I could make I need to make this radius 30 arc. See, tangents would not work. 3-point, I don't like that either. Let's do a perimeter circle. And the third point is going to be the radius. But before I change that, let's see, this line is already fixed. Let me fix this one as well. So those 2 points are fixed. And then now let me change this to a radius 30. So that would allow me to trim away these pieces. This center one can go as well. Appears maybe we're missing a circle. Let's see. Let me continue and then we'll see where this goes. So I'll do the same thing on this bottom half. Let me fix this again. Change this to 30. I could trim this portion along with these, the center region. Let's see, let me back out of there. This one is 24, so that's the inner edge. The outer edge, the outer circle is 65, which is this one here. So I'm missing a third. So that's what I did incorrectly. I'm missing this third arc out here. But I don't see. I didn't see the diameter for that, but it is given here by the 77 units. So this is incorrect. Now, I apologize for the mistake, but this is good. This is a good learning experience. So you can see I I found my mistake. I realized that I created these edges on this face, on this circle, instead of this top one. So I won't panic. What I could do, since it won't be too much hassle, I can click undo, or hit Control Z. So you'll see that I'm gonna hit it one at a time, and it will show you what it looks like as you undo the steps that you have been making. So up to this is still correct. What I need to do now is make this third circle This one is radius 77, or diameter 77, so radius of that is divided by 2, given by this number. Now I could trim these pieces, and let's do the same thing that we just did. So we backtracked a little bit, but now we can get back where we need to be. So again, let's make sure that these lines are fixed before I start making any adjustments in the dimension. This is going to be, again, radius of 30. So let's make sure this changes to 30. Again, we can now trim at these points. And we can do the same at the bottom, or mirror it if you'd like. I believe in this case, it would be a little bit faster for me to just do it over again. And you see, what happened there is I had forgot to fix that line. So it did change this to the dimension that I wanted it, but it also pushed this at the same time. Obviously don't want that. So Control Z or undo. So we can go back and fix that. This line is now fixed. Let me change this to 30 and then trim. It's a good skill to have, to not panic whenever you make a mistake, and to be able to understand the mistakes you've made and how to correct them. A lot of the times when you're making a part, you will make mistakes, most of the time unintentionally or without even noticing until much later. So you should be able to like understand what's going on. I'll give you another example here. These are not where they should be. Again, I hadn't made this circle previously, so I was in my head I was thinking that this arc was this one on the outside, so these are incorrect. What I would do in this situation, I know this line is correct. This one is as well, but it's not in the where it should be. So what I would do is I'll delete these arcs. No, I think if I just move this, it should work out. So let me unfix this line. So these are unfixed again. I will try a move. So right now, for example, this line is here. I need to move it this distance, this much. But instead of doing the math, I could just simply move it from the quadrant on this circle to the quadrant on this circle. So I will try that, see what happens. Let's move this. So I've selected my move. Let's select the line that we want to move. The starting point would be from here, and the end point, just make sure that locks in place, would be there. So we moved our line successfully, but this arc did not follow it. Nope, that's not what I want to do. But that's okay. We'll delete these and redo them. So now let's not mirror. Let's move this one as well. You have to be very careful when using the move. Make sure it's actually locking into where you want it to be. Right there. Okay, this is not correct. So I will remake those. I have to apologize if there was a slight pause there. I did have my AirPods die, which I'm using to record the audio for this. So I had to, hopefully there's no issues anymore. But we left off making this arc, so I already moved my lines. I need to make this arc here. Let me fix this so it doesn't move anywhere while I change this radius to, is it 77? Yes, it is 77. Okay, and then I'll do the same down here. Fix this line. Let me use my arc function, tangent to that point, tangent to that point, and radius 77. Whoa, believe I fixed this. Let me fix this so it doesn't move. There we go. Cool. So I have that. As you can see, I could trim this piece as well. Do a little bit of cleanup here. So that is my general shape. I have these guys done. This one, this one, this one. It appears that I have all of them. So now we can move on to our extrusions. So I'll hit extrude. Now these are extruded at different heights, and these extrusions that I will make will depend on the given height, and also for all of them, uh, our sketch, it's best for us if we make this plane, the sketch plane right here, down the middle, so we can do it both ways and I'll have to do this all over again on the other side. So this will be all of these will be a bi-directional extrusion going two ways, and they'll differ based on their heights. So for my first sketch, the contours that I will select, I want to extrude this guy. Let's see if I can move this. And also this one here are at the same height based on this section view. You see it, they're both at 22. So for my contours, I'll select this, this region and this region as well. So if they're 22 overall, that means they're 11 in either direction. So again, we'll do 11 one way. We'll do this bidirectional, so 11 in the other, the same region. It looks correct. Okay, that's what I want, I believe. So now let's do the same thing. So we'll do another extrusion and we'll drop down this information here. Do the same thing for the boss because we need to select the same sketch. So this is us extruding the same sketch more than one time. It looks like it put me back in. No, I'm good. Okay, so let me close this here so you can see a little bit more clearly. The next one that we want to do, let's do this center portion here. So that one, this region we'll select is this one. And the distance that we need to go is given to us here. So 12 and a half overall. However, we're going in two directions, so let's divide that by 2. So I'll do the math here, 12.5 divided by 2 in one direction. Our second direction will be the same thing, 12 and a half divided by 2. We selected the correct region. Let's hit OK. So that's how far that is going. Now the third part will be this rod structure, the main rod structure. So let's do this one more time. Boss extrude. We'll select this same sketch. Let me hide this. And the region that we'll be selecting now is essentially the remaining portion that's left over. So this main region here, because that is extruded at its own height, which is given to us to be 20 overall. So that means we're going 10 in each direction. So let's do that, 10 in each direction. Second direction is also 10. Whenever you're typing in dimensions or numerical values for extrusions or anything, you could type in the units. So for example, you could type in 10 millimeters, but since we already have our drawing set to millimeters, if I just type in 10, SolidWorks defaults to millimeters as the unit. So you don't have to type in millimeters every time. I don't for the most part. Sometimes I do. Um, but yeah, you just type in the numerical value and SolidWorks will assume you mean millimeters based on what we entered or what we set this file as. So let's do that 10 in either direction. So now we have our basic structure formed. The only thing we're missing are these holes that that can be seen from this view, and also this cut. So we have a very small, very thin cut going down the middle, separating the rod and this end cap. I think I'll do that cut last. So next we'll focus on these holes here. So the way I'm going to make those holes, I would like to do a sketch. And this is important. I remember saying that, making this our origin was going to help us in the future, which is now, because we could use our right plane, since our right plane goes down this line here, to make these holes. So let's do a sketch on our right plane. And we want to sketch these. Let me select a standard circle. Let me hide this. So these holes are 6 units diameter, so that means 3 units radius. They are on the x-axis, so they're y coordinate 0, and they're 59 units apart. And they're obviously symmetrical about this part, so that means from the center here to the center of these circles is going to be 59 over 2. So what I'll do right here is I'll do 59 over 2 in the negative direction for this left hole. And then the right one is going to be very similar. So also 3 units, also on the x-axis. So our y coordinate is 0. And then instead of negative, it's just going to be a positive 59 over 2. Which makes sense because now if we check our dimension between these two, that's the dimension given here, 59 units. We'll just leave that there. So now I can cut this out. So we can hop on over to our extrude cut. And again, this is going to be bidirectional. So our first direction, going this way, up to next is just fine. Then our second direction, going the opposite way. Again, we want to clean hole all the way through. So up to next, we'll do the trick. Let me double check everything, make sure it's good. I believe it is. So now we have a hole clean through. And if we're normal to the sketch, we should see just our holes. So that looks nice. Now to make this counter bore here, we're gonna need a different plane. So we will use a reference geometry to create a plane offset from our right plane by whatever this distance is, 22.5. So our first reference is gonna be our right plane. And the offset, so from here to here, we're looking at 22.5. And that's where I want it. Now, if I make a sketch on that plane, plane number 1, we're going to make another set of holes, which is convenient because they share the same center as this one. But these have a diameter of 16, so they have a radius of 8. And just by checking, I know they're sharing the same center. I like to double check sometimes just to make sure that we clicked on the correct center or clicked on the center correctly. So yeah, this is going to be 8 as well. And I believe that's it for that one. So let's do an extrude cut. Wrong way. Let's flip that. Or flip the direction with this guy here. And up to next, again, we'll do what we need it to. So that is that cut there. Let me see if we can get a view. Now we can hide this plane. It's no longer going to be of use to us. So right click on it and click on this eye. We'll either hide it or show it. Final thing to do is to make this cut. So for that one, I'll do a separate sketch on my right, no, not right plane, top plane. So the sketch I want to make, and I'll zoom in here, is a very thin cut. We have two numbers here. 0.15 about center line means we're going 0.15 in either direction, which makes sense because also given to us means we have a 0.3 gap. So overall it's 0.3. So we know that's just going to draw a center line here for some visual. So 0.15 about center line means from this center line here over to this side, we have 0.15 distance. And then over on the other side, on the left side, we also have 0.15 distance, or a distance of 0.15. So let me make this with a regular line. I'll draw my center line there. Perfect. And for me, I would use the offset function. So we can offset this 0.15 because I will be doing it bidirectionally. So bidirectional means, let me zoom in here a little bit. This is our center line. We're doing 0.15. Without bidirectional, it's only going to do it in one direction. If I hit bidirectional, it'll do it both at the same time. So again, this is a very thin line. It looks to be, yes, that's fine. Just doing what I wanted to. Let me finish that. Now I can delete this center line I no longer need. Delete that. And then all I have to do, obviously, to create this cut, I need to have a closed off area. So what I will do is I will make a circle from the center. And this one, I believe it, yeah, should be the circle that its radius 38.5. So we'll go ahead and make that. Now if I trim this piece, I believe I can trim this one as well. And it's fine that it overhangs just a tad bit. I'm not sure if this is because something that we did. Let's see, this is, I need to find out what arc that is. So it's from, let's see. Well, I would have to leave this sketch first to find out. Or I could just very quickly make another circle. Okay, it's the same radius. So if you zoom in here, it does look like we are, this line is like, it has a gap, but that's just because we zoomed in so far. Obviously we can see, even by zooming out, this isn't a perfect circle. How do I explain this without confusing you guys or messing this up? In theory, this is a perfect circle based on the, dimensions that we gave, but visually, SolidWorks, the software, can't draw that line 100% perfect. What this reminds me of is like when older video games, they had characters that were kind of blocky because the resolution wasn't all that great. It's like early Super Mario kind of stuff, or like even Smash Bros. They have very blocky characters, so that's what's going on here. This is just a lack of resolution. So there's no worries here. Our cut will be made just fine, which we'll see right now. So now that we have this region, let's go ahead and cut that with an extrude cut. So let's cut this again bidirectionally. Um, see the region we want to cut is this one. I'm not too sure I'm happy with what's going on here. What if we select this as well? Nope. Let me try this one more time. There might be something wrong with our sketch. The contour, this region is what I want to cut out. I'm gonna try it. I'm not too sure I'm gonna be happy with the result, but if there's something wrong, we'll go back and fix it. So I would have cut it both ways through all, not liking the preview here. So that is not what I want to do. Really, there could be an error in our sketch. Because this is supposed to be a closed off region. Give me 1 second to figure this out. Keep having to pause the video because my AirPods keep dying. So let me finish this really quickly before they die again. I did find a solution to the problem we were encountering earlier. So basically, in order to not have that issue, um, I'll make these lines a little tad bit longer than I have to be, just because we're cutting this clean through. So either way, it doesn't matter if they stop here or continue on forever. Um, so let's delete these lines that connect our endpoints. Let's extend these lines that we've already made. So right now there's 77. Let's change them to, like, let's say 87. 87. And now I would like to extend them in this direction as well. So let me fix these endpoints. And then now I'm going to make them longer, but since I fixed those endpoints, it should extend in this direction. So it doesn't matter the number. I want to exaggerate it so you guys can see, obviously, that we're going well past the part that we're cutting. Now that we've extended them, let's reconnect this shape so we have a closed off region. Okay, and then now we can cut this out. So let's use our extrude cut. Let me tilt this so we can see a little bit better. Again, so since we did it in the middle, this will be bidirectional. So we'll flip. We'll do the other direction as well. Up to next will be just fine on both of these directions. Let's make sure we have our correct contour selected. It appears it does. And then SolidWorks is going to ask us what bodies do we want to keep. I want to keep all of them. So all bodies, and hit OK. And there it is. You have your your very, very thin cut down the middle. You can see it if you rotate this just right. So let me show the isometric and then also the part that we're working on. So as you can see, this is how you do part number 3. So I failed to catch this mistake when it happened. But very early on in the video, I was creating, I only had these two arcs and this line. And when I added this dimension, if you remember, it changed the dimension for these two circles, but I had failed to realize that it also changed the dimension for this arc here. So that mistake I caught just now towards the end of the video when I was looking at these parts. This isn't the right dimension. It looked off to me. So we can just fix that really quickly. If we edit the sketch and this line, we know it should be 15. It was never fixed once it moved. So let's change this to 15. You'll see it makes it a little bit wider there as it should be. And now when we go back to this isometric view, it is what it should be. So just adding that little correction to the end of the video since I didn't catch that earlier. But that would be it. Thank you.